Imagine playing in the World Cup, the NFL, or any sport you could only dream of playing on the grand stage. Now, think about diving into the depths of the ocean, or exploring the ever-expanding infinite ends of space. Oh, but wait, what about traveling to a time period other than your own to experience what only occurred in the far past or distant future? I know these things are fairly unrealistic for most of us, but we can all experience these things on our own or together through the immersive nature of video games. I don't have many hobbies, but one thing I do in my leisure time is video games because I find them to be fun and entertaining. Today, I would like to try to persuade you to play video games by mentioning the general appeal of video games, as well as their social and mental benefits to the player. The main appeal of video games is that they're fun. They provide an escape from reality to a world of possibilities that are provided in numerous ways depending on the genre you're looking for. According to Satoru Iwata, the fourth president and CEO of Nintendo, who worked to create and program numerous Nintendo games, Satoru Iwata said at the 2006 Game Developers Conference, "Above all, video games are meant to be one thing: fun. Fun for everyone." Now, Satoru Iwata, who worked for Nintendo, worked really hard to try to implement this thought process into the games. Nintendo's main goal is making games that are fun, that you can play with different people and socialize with. And I think that Satoru Iwata succeeded in living up to this quote. Now, according to Shelby from Girlfriend Reviews on YouTube, a well-known popular YouTube influencer who reviews video games from the perspective of a backseat gamer, Shelby said in her review titled, "Should Your Boyfriend Play Devil May Cry 5?" The most important thing I've learned since becoming a backseat gamer is that video games aren't just toys for killing time. I think they're actually one of humanity's greatest artistic accomplishments because they are the sum of all other mediums: visual art, literature, music, performance art, cinematography, and programming combined, allowing us to do something that would have blown even the greatest minds in history. We can now jump into the canvas and play the leading role in an odyssey. We often hear about the negative effects of video games in modern media, about how they're bad for children, but we don't hear the same thing being said about visual art, literature, music, or performance art. Because video games are the sum of all these things brought together to be loved by the players, I can't see how the beautiful works of art and talent could easily be written off by the news. They do so much for us, and they provide such great feelings of satisfaction and entertainment that I believe they're incredible to everybody. Now, for the social and mental benefits of video games. Gaming communities and social connections are a big part of video games. According to an article titled "How Online Gaming Has Become a Social Lifeline" from BBC News, after the world went into lockdown, many people started to stay in touch with their family and friends through technology. However, there were some people that have already been using technology to stay connected with family and friends before the pandemic even started. These people were gamers who connected with people online through video games. The article mentions that the idea of socializing through video games was new to people who started playing video games to buy time during the pandemic, but was a concept video game enthusiasts were very familiar with. For a couple decades now, people have gathered and bonded over the shared interest in video games, creating a lasting friendship that they cherish more than anything else. Now, I have a few pictures to share with you of what proves this. Here's a picture of a gaming convention where a bunch of gamers come together to play video games and socialize. Next, we have a picture of another gaming convention where we see people walking around and exploring the conference hall to explore what video games have to offer. And lastly, on the grandest scale, a video game called League of Legends has video game tournaments for their game where they have so many people gather to watch these video games be played at a competitive level. There's a crowd here, all gathered just for the purpose of watching these people play video games. Now, I have a quote from Jane McGonigal, a game designer and author who advocates the use of technology to be channeled into positive attitudes and collaboration in real-world context. She once said in her book titled "Reality is Broken: Why Games Make Us Better and How They Can Change the World," games don't distract us from our real lives. They fill our real lives with positive emotions, positive activity, positive experiences, and positive strengths. Games aren't leading us to the downfall of human civilization. They're leading us to its reinvention. Now, as for mental health improvement with video games, according to the Office of Research and Development, in an article labeled "Study: Video Games that Can Help Veterans Recover from Mental Health Challenges." Video games can provide players who struggle mentally in a multitude of ways, with solutions or at the very least distractions. Whether it be PTSD, substance abuse disorder, or some sort of anxiety disorder, this study showed that video games could help the patients improve their mental state. For those that were addicted to something, it was easier for them to play video games to distract themselves from the temptations of whatever they're addicted to. Video games are also a distraction that helps those with anxiety disorders while pushing them to be more social through communication through video games. Lastly, PTSD was mentioned to be very complicated and that some veterans found that the immersion into shooter games helped them feel like life became more normal and allowed life to seem to make sense. This stems from the fact that some veterans have difficulty adapting to life outside of the military, and shooter games were able to make them feel more comfortable and more close to something they were used to. It's clear that video games can have a profound effect on those who play them, whether it be because of their general appeal, mainly of being fun, but also because they are a mixture of so many different mediums of art and talent, or it be because of the social and mental benefits that video games can provide, like the formation of communities of people around games, and the improvement of people's lives, like those of veterans who have felt drastic improvements in their mental health. I believe video games are the gateway that anyone can jump through to experience a world that distracts them from the blandness of reality. I don't recommend playing video games specifically with the purpose of solving an ailment you have, but instead hope for the solution to be a byproduct of the fun and enjoyment you can get out of playing video games.